government control an advisory board. Last year, you did the same thing with the charter review, and to this date, that charter review never got volunteered because you didn't want people like myself to come in and use our expertise and whatever we have expertise in to help this city. You don't need to put all of these handcuffs on the people that you have for volunteers. You folks that sit up there own the nickel when they come back to you. Why do you have to have 4 to 3, do whatever? Your bylaws had 2, and they're going to come back to you. We're here because we want to help this city.
Okay.
I agree with you, Mr. Bill.
Do I have a second?
There's a motion on
I second Mr. Jones.
Okay. I have, Danny, do you want to read the thing, or you want to read it?
Well, we have to take a vote.
Yeah.
They have taken official vote, it's just a first and a second.
First and second, you can get it. How it's going to read before we go voting.
The City of Floresville, the Floresville EDC, the Floresville Chamber of Commerce to be residents of the City of Floresville,
Within the city limits.
within the city
So in other
limits.
words, you're
Yes.
extending.
Not a Floresville address, within the city limits.
May I ask one question, Madam Mayor? Would Mr. Tejada consider the exception, as Mr. Lawhon has suggested, that if somebody owned a hotel or a business?
Mr. Rosenberg, with all due respect, I made a motion and has been seconded.
I understand that. I respectfully ask, would you consider?
No, sir.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilman Tejada, second by Councilman Nieto. Councilman Ortiz, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Rodriguez?
No, and for the reason of, I think that the chamber needs to be extended a little bit further than the corporate city limits of Floresville.
Okay, motion carries 3-1. Okay, now we're going to go on to 3D, consideration and action to appoint 2 members to the Visitors and Tourists Board. Those will be the city ones.
I think there was a list, right, for,
Well, in your packet, I believe the city secretary provided you with a list
There's a folder
Where?
in the back.
of applications from previous, we don't have a lot of
There's
applications.
really just one for
Did we
the,
give you
There's
one?
just, no.
The only new one that we received was from Mr. Gonzalez
There's
himself.
Marissa Jimenez.
Okay.
That's the only new one. The other ones have been previous ones that y'all have had before. And there was, I think that was it.
Mr. Gonzalez submitted an
And
application.
Mr. Gonzalez submitted an application,
Maybe-
which is in your
If I
packet.
may, just for procedure reasons,
Right.
is if the council, if they're going to appoint tonight, if they could do them separately and not together, we need to have appointment each one individually. Is that okay?
I'm sorry?
We just need to have one at a time. That's all I'm asking.
Do you have yours, Jim?
Yeah, I'll just give it to them.
But there's really just 2 that officially applied for the tourist and visitors bureau.
Yeah, it's been on our website, Luz did an article.
Who are the 2?
I'm sorry?
The Marissa Jimenez and Mr. Gonzalez
Yes.
were the only 2.
If that's only 2, can we just go with those 2,
She wants
Mayor?
to, you want to make them individually?
Yes, I just need you to nominate them individually and vote on them individually, if you don't mind. Yes.
Yes, sir.
I so move to appoint Alfred Q. Gonzalez to the Floresville Visitor and Tourist Board.
second?
Okay, I have a motion by Councilman Nieto, second by Councilman Ortiz. Councilman Tejada, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Rodriguez?
I would entertain Mr.
They're watching you.
You're gonna catch me outside too.
Okay, motion carries 3-1. Or 3-1.
301, yeah. You abstained because you found out yesterday from February.
Just yesterday.
Okay. Do we have a second nomination?
I nominate Marisa Jimenez.
Okay, I have a motion for Councilman Tejada. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Tejada, second by Councilman Rodriguez. Councilman Nieto, how do you
Yes?
Councilman Ortiz.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you, Ms.
May I ask a question, please?
Nope.
No? Anyway, do we not have any recommendations or nominees from the other agencies or organizations that you've named before, like the county?
Yes, I do have it, but I wanted the council to
Okay,
appoint
they're
theirs.
just ones that they can,
Okay, appoint, and then when I get the
so
full
there's other
list,
candidates.
yes, when I get the full list, I'll prepare it and send it to the council.
It was probably in contingency to the bylaws, correct?
Yes, because I need to have the bylaws finished so that they can adopt the bylaws at their first meeting, and I'll keep you abreast as when we're gonna have that first meeting. Because we don't have any other staff yet, and we're planning on in the future, I'll be staffing that until we're able to go forward.
Good job.
Okay, now we're going to go on to item E, consideration and action for the city of Floresville to host National Day of Food on May 7th, 2015.
And so move.
I have a motion by Councilman Tejada and a second. Okay, second by Councilman Rodriguez. Councilman Nieto, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Councilman Ortiz?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
And that it is going to be at the event center?
Councilman, if I remember, you said that the last time you had it here?
Here, it was right here
At
for the
by the
memorial.
flags, and that's what we had anticipated doing it again.
Okay,
I didn't anticipate, so I did not ask Lloyd to block off that time of the event center.
okay. I just looked at your sign here, your poster.
Your vote?
What
That's
time is
what you
it?
said, Daniel.
That's the poster that you sent, sir.
Well, just as a sample.
Oh, okay, all right, we'll make sure we change that as we go out to the.
Okay, yeah.
But you said that directly that you did it at the Black Folk before.
Okay, now we're going on to item H, consideration and action to approve budget amendment 2015-002 to purchase a tractor for shredding. Connie?
Mayor, we're gonna, Eli is here as well, that can speak to the need and the condition of the.
Come on up, Mr. Eli.
We talked about necessities, Ms. Connie, is it a
Yes.
necessity?
Before Eli comes in and explains to us, there's a memo there where I have explained the need for these. We're gonna start with a truck for the water department. The truck that they had broke down. Eli will be able to give you more details, but it's something that is needed. And what I will have to do is increase the revenue and increase the expenditure so we can purchase these trucks. The second part of it will have to be, it will be, okay, the second will be for a tractor that is needed for the trailer. And that will be, we will have to get some funding from the Park Foundation. The Park Foundation has in its capital budget $30,000. We need $36,000 to purchase this tractor. And also Eli is gonna go into detail on the reason why we need this tractor. And if we will need a transfer so we can send it to general fund. So
Where are we taking this money from?
Excuse me?
Where's this money coming from?
From the Park Foundation?
We don't have that kind of money.
No, from the.
The
park.
foundation.
The fund?
It's
Our
the
money.
park Fund.
Money we're talking
It's
Our
park-
money.
It's the park.
Okay.
It's the park
Yes.
fund.
I was gonna say, oh, we're gonna have to go.
Park
and ask
fund.
them.
Well, the name, yeah, the name of the fund is the Park Fund Foundation, the Park Foundation Fund.
And that's for the tractor?
That's for the tractor.
That's for the next item on the agenda.
Yes. But I'll go ahead and let Eli talk about the truck and then we'll talk about the tractor.
Okay, and before, because I think the tractor was the first one on the agenda, but, and I mentioned this before, that fund was initially set up to buy equipment. I mean, we've got a big purchase like that, that needs to come from, when we have our budget meetings, and we've got a tractor be going down, so that fund was made to improve parts. And I understand that shredding the fields will improve parts, but I mean, that's a bare necessity. I'm talking, that should be used for, upgrading the bathrooms that are in poor condition, I can go on and go on about what's actually needed for the parks, but I mean, we're wasting all these big ticket items, we're never gonna improve a park. I mean, that needs to be done during budget, like, we may need a new tractor.
I agree, but one of the problems that we're having is that when we took over the text dot easement, there was no
Equipment.
equipment that they had done. We
I
had.
know, but when did we take over the text easements?
You took them over?
2 years ago.
That's what I'm
More
saying,
than
yeah, that's
that.
2 years ago, so we've
No,
known about
it's
this.
been more than that, it's been probably about 5.
Yeah.
3 years?
Not longer.
3 years.
2 or 3 years.
3 years.
So they took over that, so they didn't plan on it, and even budget purposes.
No, there's no that is, we didn't plan on it because it's been 2 years, so we were part of the last budget
Yeah,
cycle.
so we didn't anticipate that the shredder would go out this quickly, but it really has gone on. We got the deck, which we budgeted for, the deck was great, but he anticipated some issues, because that cutting the field is really, really expensive. And we can find another location, we can go to the fund funds if you like, in reference to do that, in reference to do that. So we're not gonna ask you to take any action tonight on either one of those items, but since it on the agenda, we could ask Eli, since he came tonight, to speak to the need, and then we can definitely make some recommendations for the funding. Is that okay, Mayor and Council? That we can maybe find a different location for the funding and make some recommendations in reference to that.
Whatever you want to ask me as far as the tractor, if we're going to discuss the tractor first or the truck.
The tractor.
Well, the tractor is, it's a money pit. We have a lot of issues with it. We just recently replaced the clutch on it and the injection pump. And we used it a couple of times and it went down again. Seems like every time we turn around, we're just putting more and more money into it. And that, you know, like you said, ever since they took over the highway, you know, that tractor, it gets a lot of usage out.
What year is it?
That's a 2005,
2005?
yes.
So we've ultimately got about 9 years out of it.
10, probably 10 years. I think it was purchased in April of '05.
Okay, so, yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
In your honest opinion, you know, we continually hear about equipment going out, this went out, this went out. I sign payables and I see some cost in there for over and over, like blades, for example.
Yes.
Is this equipment being worked appropriately by these employees? Do they need
Yes, they
training to
are.
learn how to
If
take care of them better?
No, I mean, they're pretty good at, now with this purchase of these lawnmowers and everything, you know.
Because I'll tell you, everybody will tell you, you don't cut wet grass.
No.
And you see them out there cutting wet grass, therefore
And
you need a
I've
blade.
approached that, and we're trying to get that taken care of. I keep telling them, you know.
What, I mean,
I mean, you're also cutting, a lot of this, we have sand out there, and the blades take a beating. I mean, during the summertime, like the lawnmowers, you can replace a set of blades per week. And you're talking about 9 blades per week. And when that's the summertime. During the wintertime, it's a little bit slow, of course, every time. But yes, they're so far behind right now that they have to go and cut the grass. They got baseball coming up, they got all kinds of functions, Good Friday and everything. So yes, it's not so much misuse. I understand, and they understand they're not supposed to use it when it's wet. But when they tell the guys to go out there, their supervisors tell them to go out there, and I tell them, you know, you guys gotta take it easy on this. Well,
Remember, you're the one that has to fix it.
I know.
job security. Like one of the issues, I mean, I know you brought up the easements or the medians, you know, so, and I brought up one of the previous meetings is, you know, that you drive down the highway and you see this trash spread out all over, you know, that, I mean, obviously, it's just, the machines are just going out there and just dropping the shredder down and just going to town, you know, and whatever you run over, whether it be tires or any kind of rocks or.
That's an issue we need to address, and that comes from their supervisor. Really, they need to have a go-to before they put the shredder out there, which I understand that, but I have no control over that.
Well, understand.
I recommend it. I tell them what to do, what not to do, because I told them, we've been purchasing all this new equipment. I said, they're not gonna don't take care of it, you know,
I think it's gotten to that point to, it's like, four lawnmowers went down all at one time. So that's, and then something else is, it just kind of snowballs, that it like, almost as if the more they say that we need it, that the more we're gonna say, okay, let's go ahead and do another budget amendment to it. Rather than getting to the root of the problem and fixing the issue of maybe it's not being used properly, or lack of instruction, or lack of discipline, whatever it may be.
equipment, I make sure that the purchase, the people who purchase from come and walk through the whole equipment, and I'm there also. And that's when they hear us, exactly how to maintain these tractors, like greasing them daily. And when they don't do it, I go and tell them myself. I tell them, you don't take care of it, you're not gonna, there has to be some discipline, yes, I understand that. But a lot of times, I'm not there to watch them to see what they're doing, if they're misusing it, or what have you. If it's been misused sometimes, like something's broken, I can tell you. I can look at it, I can tell them, hey, you guys are misusing this piece of equipment. And I recommend to their supervisors, get them off the lawnmower, give them a weed eater, something like that, There's no punishment, so they will take care of it, so they can learn. But if he doesn't do it, I can't control it.
Correct.
I do recommend a lot of times, they need to be disciplined.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
if I could add, don't forget that they also have the responsibility to cut the right of way from Pecan Park to the river. So that shredder needs to be full. And I've had 2 board members to call me and say that they have observed the new lawnmowers, the ZTs, that were purchased last October, I believe it was. They're using it to shred with. So you've got this never-ending fight of making do with what you got, and you don't have an isoclonal plan for replacement of the equipment. They need this tractor. Either that or you need to get TxDOT to start cutting their own right-of-ways in the median.
Don't think
I
I'm
like
not
that
looking
second
into
idea.
that.
I would like
I
to
like
add,
that idea.
I would like to add to that, that I've been already here a year, and since I've been here, I've been hearing that this tractor goes off, and I do make the purchase orders to do the purchases and the repairs. We talked about these before, even during budget, and one of the equipment that was in the list that needed to be repaired or replaced was a tractor. Now, because of the state of the fund, 301, we couldn't purchase such a big equipment. We didn't have the money, we were on the deficit. And this is for Parks. Parks is the one that uses these tractors, so it has to come out of that money. They don't have the money in general fund to do this.
What is the amount in that fund that we collected?
500 and some $1,000, if I can look at the fund balance here.
No, I'm talking about the water, the dollar we're collecting for the parks.
Yeah, the balance for the park fund. We started the year with 75,902.
How much?
What code is that from?
Recreational fees and funds,
Okay, 460. And then what does the shredder cost?
36,000.
The trade-in.
With the trade-in. Without the trade-in, it was more. And the 3 bids that you have in the package, only one, and that's the one that we're recommending, is the one that will give us 1,500 for a trade-in. According to Eli, this tractor is unrepairable. We cannot do anything with it. So at least getting 1,500 will be a good.
What's wrong with it that it's not repairable?
What's that?
What's wrong with it that it's not repairable?
It's not, it will not start, it lost compression. So in other words, the engine is out on it. So completely went out. It would have to be torn apart, way down to the block and rebuilt.
Has it gone through a second opinion, so to speak? You know, to have one of the representative come and take a look at it?
I've had they had it at the, Deets tractor, it's a Deet. And then after speaking with them, again, no, I didn't, in other words, to answer your question, no, I didn't get a second opinion. But what I've seen in my experience, and what I've talked to him about it and discussed it with Deets, my recommendation is to just get rid of it instead of trying to.
What did they say?
Replace it, really, you know, really needs to be replaced. I mean, other than, we can repair it, tear it down, but you're probably gonna run into thousands of dollars, you know, just to get that done. And every time, right now, the work turnover, as far as getting the tractor like that repaired, last time we said it is, you're talking about 3 months. That's how far behind they are.
And we spend about 4,000 to
And
5,000.
have you looked at a pre-owned one, a tractor?
Sir,
This is a new one that we're looking at, right?
the one that we have?
No, the one that we're looking to purchase, it's a new
Oh,
one.
yes, yes.
Have we looked at one that, I know we got a 05, have we looked at like an 11 or 12, see what that costs?
They really don't have any.
There's no use.
You can find used, they're used, they're gonna be used. But to me, it's like buying a car, a used vehicle. You don't know what you're getting. You know, we purchase it a year later. If I come back up here and tell you, hey, you know what, it only lasted us a year.
And it comes down also on the warranty.
Connie, what do you recommend that it comes from? From
The recreational
from that
fund,
$1 fee?
the $1 fee.
So, and that fund has how much right now?
It has 75,902, but that's what, it started in October.
And what's the replenish, how much?
It's $1 a bill every month that the
So
water
how much
bills
is
go
that?
out. About $2,000 a month.
Where's
So
this-
right now, so February, the fund balance, if you go to the right column, it's 88,521. But I don't like to rely on that because it's unaudited fund balance. So I usually give you the audited balance, the ones that we know for sure we have it in the books.
And I understand it sounds like we do need one, I don't question the need for a tractor.
Yeah.
Just questioning where we're pulling the funds from. Because I know the Parks Department is using it, but we're talking about we're cutting medians. There's nobody playing basketball on those medians, there's nobody, you know, on those right of ways. I mean, that's not what we intended this dollar. I mean, we sound like the guys in Austin and Washington, where we're just creating these funds and then turning around and using it for something else.
Now, could that shredder be used, or?
I'm sorry?
Shouldn't be used for O&M.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
What
That's-
else comes out of that, the recreational?
None.
Nothing.
Tomorrow, jump in the car and you gotta go to each park and go to the women's bathroom.
If
And tell me
we,
what-
there's,
Yeah, tell me what, well, that's where that money should go, that's where we need to come
Yeah.
up with a plan to put
And-
that in
and
the
if-
park improvement.
if we do
Not a
those park
shredder.
improvements and come out of these funds instead of the parks, maybe we can free up some of the budget that we have on parks to purchase these.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, look at the park improvements that need to be done, come up with a plan there, and then pull that other one out of there, but let's access those needs, because that's what that dollar was intended for.
Mayor, if I may, then what we can do is have staff to go back and look at where we can actually make these adjustments for. We won't ask for a vote tonight, but we wanted Eli to speak to the issue in reference to do that. And then going forward, this is a long-term issue that we probably need to budget for, and maybe we need to rename it in our budget to say, you know, different kind of maintenance, because it's kind of hard to say that the medians and the highway is with parks. And so we need to probably, you know, divide that out so that we can make sure that you can see what it's actually costing when we took on those test e-medians. There's no going back though. They're not taking them back, they're yours. And so we have to think about maybe in the budgetary process to see how we're gonna do long-term. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay, so we do ask that you table this at this time and not take any action.
That's 3R and 3A.
Well, he didn't speak to the tractor yet. He hasn't talked about it. He just spoke to the tractor, is that correct?
Yes.
Can I make a motion?
Yes, please.
I'd like to make a motion to table item 3H.
Second?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Rodriguez, second by Councilman Ortiz to table this item Tejada, how do you vote?
Yes. Table.
Councilwoman Webb? Okay, motion carries 4-0. You don't have it on the next agenda?
Yes, ma'am, we should have a recommendation for you the next agenda.
Okay. Eli, you can stay there, I guess. I'll just go for water.
Torture me some more.
Okay, now it's item I, consideration and action to approve budget amendment 2015-003 to purchase a truck for water department.
This truck has been, was purchased used. And when I first was employed here, I made it my, habit to go and check every vehicle. And this one was one of the trucks that I had mentioned back then when Andy Joshua was the city manager. And I mentioned that this truck was gonna have problems because when I checked this transmission fluid had never ever been changed. And I told him it was gonna break down. And it's lasted this long. I've been here a little bit over 30 years. And then another issue that this truck has is a very unsafe vehicle due to the driver's side door has been welded, the hinges have been welded 4 times.
Good job.
And we can't do anything with it anymore. I mean, the transmission, I can replace the transmission for $1,200, but that door.
Which truck is this, Eli?
It's the little blue
Tell them what you use it for.
It's a little S10.
Tell them what they use it for.
It's a meter, it's one of our meter reader trucks.
Is that the one Mito uses?
No.
Give that one to Mito.
I'm sorry, Hearn.
Give that one to Mito then, and switch it to.
Well, Mito has the other one. That's a different issue.
Then the dog won't jump out?
Yeah.
That's welded.
My biggest deal with this, like I said, it's very unsafe. Like I said, the transmission I can replace. But my biggest issue is somebody, that door flying open, somebody get hit, or the driver falls off and gets run over. It's a big time safety issue as far as that.
Okay, then I'm gonna ask you now, okay? There's a red truck that sits out there at the event center. What's the condition of that truck?
It's fair.
Would it be able to take over that for a while?
We probably can. We'd have to discuss that. We had taken that one over for.
We wanted to use that initially for the building inspector, the red truck. But the building inspector opted to not use that car. He decided to use his own vehicle. He didn't feel safe in that vehicle. So then we have actually assigned that vehicle to the event center because they use it there, Gabriel used it there, and they're gonna go back and forth now to the beer warehouse. The problem with using that vehicle is I don't think it's gonna last that long because the meter readers drive their trucks all over the city of Floresville. They have to go to each individual house, if you can imagine. We have 2 meter readers that read, it takes them all week to read the entire city of Floresville. So that truck really takes a lot of interest. That's why we didn't want to actually use that truck to put it back in service because I don't think it'll last very long.
And have we looked at other vehicles already?
Yes.
We don't actually have any that we can do now. In this case, I believe the water fund, and I'll have my company speak, it's not as much as the water fund has money to be able to afford this.
Does the police department have any repos?
The police department has one vehicle,
It's a Suburban, and if you see, it's that silver one that you see, if you go to the sewer plant, it's by the warehouse, that silver one, but it hasn't been, it's, the paperwork,
It
everything
hasn't
is
been
not.
released as of yet to us. That's how we use the truck in reference to and how it's impounded and what it goes for. That's how we got the street truck for the Alex rides around in the black truck. And so we may get that Suburban, but it depends on if it goes through. And then the police have to see if it's restricted or not. If they get something, the police have to use it for their purposes and they don't. So if not, we're hoping we receive some vehicles as a donation. We may be preparing for an auction.
We
As
can
a
get a
cheap
donation. You get a donation of 2 vehicles.
We have vehicles.
She did say.
Eli, those won't make it.
Those don't work. Your donation.
Or famous Catholics.
Since we had told them to the yard, I would have to say no.
So why don't you want to take action on this one?
I think there's some language that the attorney wants to have in here to look a little bit different, to identify exact funds, and so it's just a matter of we need to do some scribble changes, and then we'll be able to take action on this one. Is that correct, Lee?
That's correct. What I'm interested in is the council will look at the ordinance. On the face of the ordinance, we should show the budget we're taking the money from, and what that fund is being reduced to, and the money that's being moved into, and what that's increased to. And when I look at this, it does show 6,000 capital outlay, it does show reserve balance draw 6,000, but I can't tell what the change is. And we just got an A1 rating on our audit. This is the kind of things the auditors look at, which is when you appropriate money and take it out of one fund and put it in the other. They look at what your ordinance says, and it's got to be clear on the face of it where you're taking it from and where you're putting it in. And I'm just asking that the ordinance be clear. When I look at ordinance 3I, or the one that's marked number 4, I can't tell where the money comes from and where it goes in terms of start and stop. I'm just asking for clarity.
So we'll put that on the next agenda for your consideration, okay? So we need to table this as well.
So moved.
Have a motion by Councilman Tejada, need a second?
Second?
Second by Councilman Tejada. Councilman Ortiz, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Rodriguez?
Yes.
Motion carries 4.
Thank you, Eli.
Thank you for all that magic you do on our meetings. Okay.
Do we need to put a budget amendment for a new welder?
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to go on to J, consideration and action to accept the resignation of Deborah Conley from the 4A board. I think we have a letter.
Yes, ma'am, I believe in the packet there was a letter that was submitted. There was an email that was submitted to the city secretary. So it's in your packet, notifying the city council of her resignation, and so we're asking that you accept it.
I so moved to accept the resignation of Deborah Conley.
Second?
We have a motion by Councilman Nieto, second by Councilman Ortiz. Councilman Tejada, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Rodriguez?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Okay, then we're going to go on to K, consideration and action to accept the resignation of Andy Johnson from the 4A board and FEDC board.
Do these have to be done individually?
I think those could be done together like they're on the board on the document.
I'll go ahead and make the motion to accept the resignation of Andy Johnson from the 4A board and FEDC board.
Okay, I have a motion, may I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Rodriguez, second by Councilman Tejada. Councilman Ortiz, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Nieto?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Now we're going to go on to item L, consideration and action to appoint members to the 4A board. I think y'all had some applications.
Yes, ma'am, you have applications just for the education of the board. There are 3 openings. Mr. Gleason was here tonight. I don't know if so Mr. Gleason is here. I think he's sitting president. And Leanne Groves is also still on that board. And so you have 3 openings.
So we're talking about,
It's a board of 5, so you have 3 openings.
These were submitted back in December 31st, so has anybody contacted them if they're still interested, or? No?
No, I did not contact the people that were there, that were on there. I can do that if you want to.
We can do that and bring that back forward to you if you like, or if you have any recommendations that you'd like to have staff to reach out to someone, we can do that as well.
I think we need an updated updated list.
Does anybody have any recommendations?
I have one. Henrietta. I would like to appoint Joe Tejada to the board. He's from Floresville. He has experience with events. He's retired.
To the 4A board?
Correct. 4A. With Mr. Gleason.
we have just one, how many do we have?
You have 3 openings there.
See, we kind of have to fill them just simply because of that license, don't we?
We can do that, and then, of course, as you go forward, you're going to have a lot of activity in reference to refinancing and restructuring, and on your Tuesday meeting is one of the conversations that we can have and discuss this more in detail if you like, at the workshop on the 31st. Is that the right date?
Yes, on the 31st, it's Tuesday.
The entire workshop is on the 4A, and the activities at the event center is what I believe the agenda is, and the all-city
Youth
youth programs.
organizations.
That is the topic of the workshop. So if you'd like to reconsider it, and then after that meeting, we can appoint.
I made a motion.
Do I have a second?
My second?
I have a motion by Councilman Ortiz, second by Councilman Nieto. Councilman Tejada, how do you vote?
Abstain.
Councilman Rodriguez?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 3-0.
But, Madam Mayor, that would only give us a three-member board, right?
I was gonna make another motion.
Okay, so we're doing them separate. Okay.
I'd like to nominate Christopher Flores for the Florida Board.
Former councilman?
Yes.
I think he goes by Christopher Flores.
Chris, Jesse Chris Flores.
Okay, I have a motion. May I have a second?
Second?
I have a motion by Councilman Tejada, second by Councilman Nieto. Councilman Ortiz, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Rodriguez?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 4-0.
Is time allows them to? And
I'm sorry?
is time allows them to serve on these boards?
Yeah, well, he said he wanted to serve, so I'm assuming.
Okay, does someone else have the third one need?
I'm going to appoint or nominate the Paige Fuller.
Is she interested, or?
She was the one that was nominated or listed here.
Page pull.
We can still nominate and contact her.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilman Rodriguez. May I have a second?
A second?
Second by Councilman Nieto. Councilman Ortiz, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Tejada?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Okay. Now we're gonna go on to M, consideration and action to appoint members to the FEDC. How many positions do we have on that?
You just have the one position in.
May I like to make a motion to appoint Ben Reed to FTC?
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilman Ortiz, second by Councilman Tejada. Councilman Nieto, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Rodriguez?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Okay, last item, 4A, adjourning to executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071, private consultation with city attorney regarding current litigation. Can I have a motion to enter into executive session?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Tejada, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Rodriguez?
Yep.
Motion carries 4-0. Time is 9:05.